Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Daz.
I'm Gaynor.
Office Bloke Aidan.
Here we are, all three of us. If Patreon's your thing, check out the link in the description below. Loads and loads of stuff on there. It's not just $3 a month, help support the channel.
We'll love it.
And you will absolutely love it. It's something pretty much every single day. So check it out if it's for you. The 5 craziest things Americans have said to me, a British person. This is Lawrence from Lost in the Pond.
Yeah.
Great guy.
It's one of them things as well where, because we lived in the USA, and a lot of people said to us some crazy things. One girl said to me, "How long have you lived there?" And we said like 5 days at the time, weren't we? She went, "I can't believe how good your English is."
Yeah, that's
living
insane.
days.
Though, yeah.
And I went, "I'm mad, innit?"
Or where do people from Manchester hang out? Liverpool.
Well, it's only 27 miles away, so
Yeah,
it's 2 big cities. Yeah, but you said we don't. Although,
Hang out in Manchester
We
tend
would-
to do anyway.
We would go visit and party there, but
Fuck that.
yeah, but 5 craziest things Americans have said to me, a British person.
Hello.
So
This year marks the 10th anniversary of this channel. And to celebrate, I've been looking back at some of those early videos and asking myself, if I were to remake any of these today, what would they look like? And one of those videos was this one. 5 surprising things that Americans have said to me. When I made that video, I'd only lived in the country for 7 years. I was practically a novice. But now, 10 years later, I have a much larger back catalogue of the strangest, weirdest, and sometimes dumbest things Americans have ever said to me. Now, I don't want you to think that this is just some unnecessary pile-on against Americans. After all, I think my American wife would make the reverse video about British people. Plus, I also make dumb comments. We all do. We're human and mostly stupid. But since this channel is about my life in America, it's time to put Americans to the sword. And if you're okay with that and you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, do that now. This first one wasn't so much dumb as it was just weird. One day, while I was really busy surfing the internet at work, one of my colleagues turned to me and said, "Lawrence, do you know what my favourite British word is?" I
Flannel.
said, "No, because I'm not a mind reader. What is your favourite British
Wanker.
word?" And their favourite British word was bumbershoot. Now, this was a surprise to me because I'd lived in Britain for 26 years and I'd never heard the word
Me neither.
bumbershoot.
Me
What
neither.
does bumbershoot mean? Oh, you know what bumbershoot means, British person. It's another word for umbrella. So, since I was already surfing the internet, I thought, oh, well, why don't we Google this? So I did. Bumbershoot, a word of American origin. That's curious. It's like my colleague had heard the word bumbershoot and thought, that sounds whimsical, it must be British. But then she said, I heard Dick Van Dyke say it in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. That makes sense, because we all know that Dick Van Dyke has a history of accurately depicting British culture. Anyway, I told her to look up another British word for umbrella, brolly, which might have become her new obsession. I don't know, because I never spoke to her again after this incident.
There's certain words that Americans like to say that sound British. You know, there's some guy when we used to go in a bar, used to just look at us and go, "Winnebago." And we used to go, "Yeah," right?
Yeah.
Because he said that's the only thing he could say that sounded. It's like Jimmy Carr when he does like accents. That's the only thing he could say that give him an English accent. So he used to say Winnebago. You know, it was quite funny for us. You know, but I guess that's bumbershoot might be one of them words.
Yeah.
Where someone might be able to say it and sound English when they say it. But brolly, everyone calls it a brolly.
Brolly.
I don't know anyone that calls it an umbrella.
No.
Everyone's just brolly,
Brolly.
isn't it?
This one happened to me quite recently. I was attending a farmer's market, which is just something that happens to you once you hit 40. I'm walking along, minding my own business, when a man with a clipboard smiles at me. And when that happens to an introvert, there's only 2 things you can do. Pretend to be interested in what he has to say, or pretend to look at onions. So this guy was savvy. He knew that people didn't look at onions if they were already carrying them. So he pulled me into his sphere of influence with 3 terrifying words. "Hey there, buddy," like I'm a dog. I was so mortified that I don't really remember what I said next, but it was something along the lines of, "Sorry, my wife handles our finances, and if she weren't on the other side of the market buying lingonberries, she'd tell you we're not interested." Before I could say those words, he allayed my fears by paying me a compliment. "Dude, that is one awesome t-shirt." For context, I was wearing this t-shirt, and even though I knew he was using a well-known sales technique to manipulate me into funding his uncle's pyramid scheme, I appreciated his taste in presidential caricatures. But then he said something really dumb that made me mentally want to rip up the contract that he probably wanted me to sign. He pointed again at the shirt, and without a hint of irony, he said, Is that you?" I was stunned. I mean, surely he hadn't failed to recognize one of the most famous people in history, plus the guy on my shirt. "No," I said, "that's definitely Abraham Lincoln." "Oh," he said, "I did not recognize him with those funny glasses on." And while I appreciated his attempts at paraphrasing Lois Lane, I still question whether he recognized Abraham Lincoln at all. Sadly, I never got to find out because at that moment my wife turned up with a bag of lingonberries and told him we're not interested. On this channel, I use the word Britain a lot, usually just as a shorthand way of saying either England, United Kingdom, what have you, when in reality, Britain has a very precise definition: Scotland, Wales, and England, because that's what Britain is. Basically, it's this part of the British Isles. And there was an American in the comments who thought they knew better than me, who said, don't forget about Ireland. And actually, I think this might be a common misconception among Americans. And to be fair, it is all a bit confusing, because contrary to popular belief, Ireland is part of the British Isles, which is defined as Britain plus Ireland and Northern Ireland and the seas that are around it. And I suppose the other part that really causes confusion is that we have the United Kingdom. That itself is different from Britain and does include Northern Ireland, but not Ireland. Even I'm confused now. So then he said, no, look at your passport. It says the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Clearly Ireland is part of Britain. And they somehow couldn't figure out that what that meant was the United Kingdom is literally that. It is the unification of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And Ireland has nothing to do with any of it. It's its own country under its own jurisdiction. It didn't fight in World War II. They prefer the word soccer, and their passports look like this. So no, when I'm defining Britain, there's no reason that I would include Ireland or Northern Ireland or anything Irish whatsoever. You know what? The Irish people prefer it that way. Actually, a lot of Scottish people don't claim to be British, or Welsh people. It's just the English.
Scousers.
About 92% of the dumbest stuff that's ever been said to me was said when I worked in a call centre. And for those of you who don't know, a call centre rep's career begins with about 4 weeks of training. And this is to prepare you for life on the floor, where you will take several calls and contract many diseases. And one day, our trainer was recounting this story of a customer who wanted an international phone plan because she was flying to Amsterdam. Now, one of the chatty people in the class, because all classes have them, asked the question, where's Amsterdam? And that is not the part that took me aback, because at least that person had the curiosity to ask the question. What took me aback was the trainer's response. He said, I'm not sure, but I think it's in England somewhere. Anyway, that's not important. And I'm like, hello, it's important to me, because if I'd have known that England had those kind of cafes, I wouldn't have spent £300 on a ferry. Sadly, nobody seemed to get the joke, so I explained, Amsterdam is the capital of the Netherlands, and yes, it's legal over there. And that same chatty person looked in my direction and said, what's legal over there? Well, that put me in a rubbish position, because now all of the eyes were on me. Would it be a wise move to utter such a taboo word in a training class like this one? And then I remembered I didn't really want the job anyway, so I just said it. What's legal over there? Education. Eventually, I made it out onto the floor, and let me tell you, all of the training in the world couldn't have prepared me for working in a US call centre with this accent. I got every comment that you could possibly imagine, from, wait, is this call international? To, you sound like that Simon Cowell guy. To, do you have a brother who's single? But the weirdest comment I got wasn't about my Englishness, but actually the lack of it. And I hesitate to call this a dumb comment, because it came from a sweet old lady who generally seemed confused as to who she was or why she was calling. But while attempting to verify her details, she interrupted me and said in a slow southern accent, I'm so sorry, sir, but I'm having a hard time understanding your accent. Could I please talk to somebody who speaks English? She sounded exactly like that. And as an English person, I'd never had my grasp of English questioned before. I suddenly empathised with Scousers. I am literally English, I said, enunciating each syllable like I myself were talking to somebody who couldn't understand English. Could I have you confirm your billing address? There was silence on the other end of the phone. Was it the way I was saying address? Excuse me, your billing address. The line was still active, but she remained silent. Had my incomprehensible accent sent her to an early grave? Suddenly, another voice came on the line. It was her daughter. Hi, this is Peggy. Perhaps it'd be easier if I talk on my mother's behalf. This family, they all sounded really weird. And this brought its own set of problems, because in order to speak with Peggy, I had to get her mother's verbal permission. How would I do that without an English-to-English translator? And then it hit me. I could temporarily hire Peggy for the role. Peggy, put me on speaker speaker so your mother can hear both of us. Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, now ask her this. Do you give the gentleman permission to discuss your account with Peggy? Do you give the gentleman permission to discuss your account with Peggy, with me? She said with surprising fluency. Her mother responded with yes, the English word for yes. Finally, we verified the address, which meant that I could now move forward with the next question on my script. And how can I help you with your cell phone service today? Wait, did you say cell phone service? I'm trying to reach the 700 Club. I'm sorry to waste your time, sir. Goodbye. So, those are some of the wackier things Americans have said to me. Let me know some of the top ones you've heard over the years, but, you know, keep it civil. And in the meantime, continue your heroic journey through my back catalogue by going here. Until the next video, goodbye.
Yeah, I always found that my biggest thing is people stop listening to what you're saying and start listening to your accent.
Yeah.
And they just zoom out. And it's they're like, I like the accent or I don't like the accent, whichever it may be. And just like go, and then they forgot what you'd said.
Yeah, it's quite crazy because I can understand. Like if you're at least speaking English, I'm gonna be able to understand you to a certain extent, no matter what accent you're speaking. I think
some African accents I struggle with.
I was gonna say, but also one of our doctors, you can't understand a word she says.
No, she's. I think she's from China, and she said something to me last time I was there, and I just went, I have no idea what you're saying. And I'm very, very good with accents. I've been to China. I've understood loads of people different. I just couldn't understand. And I just went, you're gonna have to write it down because I can't understand a word you're saying. And it wasn't being funny or anything. It wasn't being like nasty or anything like that. She just, I have no idea. I'm sure she was speaking foreign language because I couldn't pick anything up. She was not even one word.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, nope.
Could you understand her?
She wasn't there.
No, I've
You've had the same doctor.
Yeah.
But it's I think people just zone out and they just like go like, oh, the accent's different.
Yeah, it's like, I think I've said it before. Listening. When we went to White Castle to order that food, and I ordered, and she didn't understand us. She just stared at me. Looked at us like we were speaking a foreign language.
Well, you went in to order, and I was stood next to you. Yeah. So I thought I kind of like I wanted you to order sort of thing because I know you talk. Number one, you talk a little bit faster than me sometimes, and number two, I thought it'd be quite funny for me to watch him them not understand your accent. That's what I was thinking.
Because like right? In my head, I'm like, how could you not understand what I've just said?
But I remember it was two guys stood. It was a guy and a girl stood behind the counter, and the girl come over and sort of like she started like smiled at you sort of thing, and she was like, you know, all happy that someone had come into White Castle number one before 2 a.m, right? And she said, no, what can I get you? And he went, can I get and I just seen her face go, as if to say like, what's that? You know, and I started giggling sort of thing, and she just looked at me as if to say like, what is he saying?
Yeah.
So then I had to jump in sort of thing and then order from her sort of thing.
I don't understand how she couldn't understand me. That was crazy.
I was talking exactly the same, but there's certain words that you've got to drop. You've got to drop the T and put a in it instead. So you've got to drop that.
Like you're going to put a D in there instead.
Yeah. And you've got to make them.
Also, you have to change words that you say as well.
Yeah.
Like sound.
Yeah.
You can't
say mint.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can't mint that. Yeah. Everyone, you want some mint?
No, it's not. It's buffalo.
But yeah, that was a good point. That one.
Yeah, that was funny.
Because but even when you go anywhere now, it's when we met David in Tennessee. I think he struggled to understand us a little bit at first because I think he was listening to our accents more than what we were sort of like talking about. So they kind of switch off. You have to let us know if you understand what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
A few people in the comments have said I can't understand what you're saying half the time.
I imagine if we had a conversation between us here, between Mike, myself, Aidan and Declan, let's say, 4 of us talking, people would be like, and we were having a full-on conversation about, say, football, people would go, I have no idea what you're saying. People
have asked us before what language you're talking when we've been talking to each other.
Yeah, that was in the USA, wasn't it?
Yeah.
People have gone, well, can I just stop you? What language are you speaking? I'm like, English. He said, I've heard some words that sound English, but the rest of it's like...
That's weird to me. That's crazy.
Yeah, but again, we use a lot of slang that people probably might not pick up on as well. And it's but there's certain things that's one of the things. But I think people there are daft questions as well because someone said to us, I thought London was the country and England was the city, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
It's just one of them where that's just lack of geographical knowledge really, more than anything, and no real care of what's going on. You know, in someone else's world, it's just like they're no really interested in learning about it, so they don't care.
Yeah.
You know, there'll be times when we've got questions about the USA or from anywhere in the world where you go, don't know the answer. You know, and it's it's on a similar level, but yeah, you do get asked some strange questions sometimes. You know, or I think one of the Americans who was at City asked me, how long do you think it'll take me to drive to? He wanted to do York, Leeds, and Liverpool in the same day. I said, you can do it. As an American, you can 100% do it. You know, don't be put off by people in England saying, "Oh, that's too far," because what you do Liverpool first, and then jump on a train to Leeds, and then jump on a train to York.
You could literally you could do a morning, afternoon, and evening.
Yeah, 3 hours. Yeah, and you see all three.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So it's like in 3 hours in the USA, it's like that's nothing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is busy to go on them routes, and the train's probably not going to turn up.
Yeah.
And when it does, it's going to be packed. Yeah.
Do you know what? I've never not got a train. I think the trains over here are good.
Yeah, you've never got a train?
No, like he complains all the time saying that the trains don't turn up. I've never turned up at a train station and the train's not turned up.
Yeah, they do happen. It does happen quite a lot. But they are quite reliable more than anything. Anyway, we divulge. I hope you guys enjoyed that as well. Let us know if there's anything let us know in the comments if there's anything we say that you don't understand.
Yeah.
Or if you've got any questions. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well, and we'll see you on the next one.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers.